In the following scene, we will observe the events of regurgitation and rumination. In sheep and goats, a regurgitated bolus is remasticated for about 45 seconds and then swallowed. After a short interval, the next bolus is returned into the mouth and continuously remasticated. The regurgitation, which occurs at regular intervals, is related to forestomach motility. During a period of rumination, the contractions of the reticulum and rumen are recorded again. At the end of the reticulo-ruminal cycle, a separate regurgitation contraction of the reticulum occurs. At the maximum of this contraction, reticular contents are aspirated into the esophagus. Now, the regurgitation contraction is followed by the normal diphasic contraction of the reticulum. Whilst the digesta are remasticated, the reticulo-ruminal cycle proceeds in the sequence already described. Before the reticulo-ruminal cycle is finished, remastication is stopped and the masticated bolus is swallowed. After a short break, another bolus is returned to the mouth at the beginning of the next reticulo-ruminal cycle. Now we are again looking directly into the reticulum. Although the forestomachs are partly emptied, regurgitation occurs. The goat tries to aspirate digesta into the esophagus. Here one can see that digesta are aspirated at the maximum of the reticular contraction. Because light coarse material is carried by the reticular contractions back into the dorsal rumen, digesta from the lower part of the reticulum are aspirated, which will predominantly consist of fluid containing small food particles. Now we are facing the thoracic region. Gas has passed into the esophagus, and now digesta are aspirated for remastication. The fluid contents of the bolus are swallowed. Now deglutition of the remasticated bolus and the next regurgitation. Now we are facing the throat. The goat swallows the remasticated material. After a short interval, the next bolus is returned to the mouth and the fluid contents of the regurgitated bolus are immediately forced back into the forestomach by double redeglutitions. Again, back to the thoracic esophagus. Redeglutition of the remasticated bolus. Regurgitation. First deglutition, second deglutition. These events are repeated with surprising regularity. From this observation, it can be concluded that the digesta are returned to the mouth very quickly and that the fluid contents of the regurgitated bolus are swallowed immediately by 2 deglutitions. Let us sum up in which way food particles move through the reticulo-rumen. They pass into the reticulum and are forced back into the dorsal sac of the rumen by the contractions of the reticulum and of the cranial sac. Here the food is squeezed and slowly rotated. Smaller particles tend to descend into the ventral rumen, and by the contraction of the ventral sac, they are returned to the cranial sac, and from here back into the reticulum. Small particles are forced from the reticulum into the omasum, whilst large particles of the reticular contents are ruminated. The remasticated digesta pass again into the reticulum. With this preparation, we are going to study the motility of the third forestomach, the omasum. The right medial side of the reticulum is connected with the bean-like omasum. This is the boundary to the abomasum. These are the cardia, the reticular groove, and the omasal opening. These are the omasal leaves, which pack the lumen of the omasal body. For recording omasal motility, two small balloons are fixed to a wire hook. The anterior balloon, which projects between the leaves, records the contractions of the omasal body. The other balloon, which is fixed immediately beyond the omasal opening, records the contractions of the omasal canal. The cycle begins with a double contraction of the reticulum. Immediately after the reticulum, the omasal canal contracts together with the dorsal sac of the rumen. As rumination begins, a regurgitation contraction occurs, and the normal double contraction of the reticulum follows. Then the cycle continues ordinarily with a contraction of the omasal canal and of the dorsal sac of the rumen. A secondary contraction of the dorsal sac of the rumen follows, and at the end of this, the omasal canal contracts a second time. After this contraction, the internal pressure of the omasal body increases slowly. It decreases abruptly with the beginning of the reticular contraction. The pressure of the omasal canal falls below zero during the reticular contractions. After the contraction of the reticulum, the omasal canal contracts again, together with the dorsal sac of the rumen. Thereafter, the pressure of the omasal body increases. Again, a regurgitation contraction, the diphasic contraction of the reticulum, contraction of the omasal canal and of the dorsal sac of the rumen. The omasum is a pump which continuously transports digester from the reticulum into the abomasum. By the contraction of the reticulum, the contents are lifted from the bottom towards the omasal opening. At the maximum of the second reticular contraction, the omasal orifice is opened and the omasal canal is enlarged for a short moment. Digesta are thereby aspirated into the omasum. By the following contraction of the omasal canal, digesta are forced into the omasal body between the leaves, and by the contraction of the omasal body, they pass slowly into the abomasum. We are now facing the reticulo-omasal orifice. The lips at the lower part of the reticular groove are slightly pulled apart in order to demonstrate the omasal opening. As one can see, the right lip of the reticular groove runs into the reticulum, whilst the left lip runs into the omasum. During the reticular contractions, the lips of the groove are tightly closed. They are opened, together with the omasal orifice, for a very short moment at the maximum of the second reticular contraction. Particles which have entered the omasal canal are flushed back into the reticulum, together with air bubbles coming from the abomasum. Another reticular contraction, short opening of the lips, and aspiration of digester. This can be observed several times. Some grains of seed were caught by the bird claw papillae of the omasal opening and were flushed back into the reticulum.